I'm going to draw a couple of diagrams. This is conventional, right? I mean, we see this everywhere. Yes, it is an organization chart. Yes, it is a format of an institution. Usually it has like laws here, policies here, hala tuju, or all these things lah kan. There are a lot of structures. They are a lot of walls, a lot of boxes, and leadership is here, and it trickles down here. Anyone recognizes this one? Actually, this exists in nature. If you look at sunflowers and everything, everything grows in this manner. It's like a council. It's like, you know, and then it builds from there. And, you know, it can include many people and many passions and many types. Let's talk about characteristics, pros and cons. Some examples, we already mentioned tadi, say lah Sabah government, you say parti politik, betul juga. Some institutions you know? Church, religion. Other examples? Clubs. Yeah. So we say governments, political parties, apa lagi? Church, clubs, companies. Ada family ka begini? Ada, betul. Think about examples of this one. Huh? Meeting kampung. Apa lagi? Tamu. Good one. Kedai kopi. So do you think the dominant system in companies, governments, churches, so organized religion, etc., is this one ka? The dominant system? Would we call it the dominant system? Like everybody knows this. That is like maybe the alternative system. Huh? Huh? This is dominant system. Let's think about pros and cons though. So we talk about some pros here. Is efficiency, there's order. Are there some real pros and some real cons? Pros and cons. Like why is this good and why is it bad? Why is this good and why is this bad? I don't want to make it too binary, but you get what I'm saying lah. Pros and cons. Is this more efficient? Let's say you say reduce poverty, rise self-sufficiency, put this policy in place, put this enactment, put this budget. Is it efficient? Do we achieve our targets? Like, do we achieve rise of self-sufficiency? So do you think there is such a thing as one leader, one single leader, who can really be the most benevolent, godlike leader who will urus all this so every single human being is taken care of? And then they not only say, it says, I know how to take care of you. I will take care of you like this. What is that called? Patriarchy. So do we think that one of the cons of this is that the system can be corrupted?
Yes.
Yeah? Can be corrupted. Why is it can be corrupted? Is it because a lot of dinding, a lot of places to hide? It's controlled by one person.
It's because it's rigid, fixed.
Yeah.
You can easily identify.
Rigid, is that a con?
It's like present as it is only. It doesn't have that.
It doesn't have the gelombang.
Yeah.
It's a fixed thing.
Yeah.
And then you know where the loophole is.
So do you think what really happens? What really happened is it's in all these spaces where all the corridors of power, where all the lobbying and the paying and the bye is happening.
Because they only concern within them.
So, division satu orang sudah di atas.
Yeah. So what would we call that decision? We already said top down.
It's egocentric. Yes.
Egocentric. You think it's possible for a godlike human being, the nicest, best, kindest, most honest, blah blah human being, to be here and stay there and stay the person that he or she is? What kinds of people are usually here, you think?
Double-sided.
Double agent? Tebal muka. Apa lagi? Hah? Decisive. Apa lagi? Hah? Two-faced.
Or maybe a lot of things.
A lot of them.
Huh? Many-faced. The bottom is a representative of what's on top. Yeah. So in this system, where do you think people like us are? Like, where do you think you are as a person? Where do you think the organization is? Did you guys hear what he said? The microchip at the bottom is the biggest and strongest, but they don't realize it. So then what do? We go over here. What does the tajau symbolize? Spirit.
The passion. Common interest.
Yeah, common interest.
Could be money.
Yeah, it
Could be money. The source. The source.
The source. Gravity. Okay, free flow apa lagi? You think this one can run out kah? This source, gravity, passion, common interest. Do you think it will ever run out? Huh? Something can be though, yeah. Any other pros and cons? Hmm? Apa? Equal. Jennifer said the con is the slow. Is slow bad?
Sama kontrol.
Chaotic. Chaotic. Tidak boleh kontrol.
Everybody has
Huh?
got their own ideas, got their own specialty, got their own style.
Everyone pandai.
Everyone pandai. Everyone pandai at something.
And then sometimes pandai-pandai.
Terlampau pandai.
Sometimes terlampau pandai.
Bagus lah gitu pandai-pandai.
Yeah. So for some of you who've done the theory youth training, we will talk about this over the next couple of days. Remember the term to see the system, see and sense the system. So this is what this exercise is, to see and sense the system. Really see it as something just that it's just a thing, right? So let's not make it personal. Let's just see and sense what is going on here. And we can see why this was developed, right? Just imagine Sabah yang dulu-dulu, a whole bunch of us running around without a plan, without a work plan and outputs, outcomes, and to do what with our land or whatever. And then somebody came and said, I'm gonna whip you all into shape. Maybe the Brits did that. Then maybe after that, our forefathers put like, oh, that was a good way to organize people. Let's organize all these people. And we know what's best. And did it maybe bring some development? Kan? Did it? Do we think it did? Did it organize the towns, organize the districts, organize roads? I don't know what else. So as Jennifer says, imagine that there is a need, there is a place for this. And then similarly, you see and sense this system, which is more, it is generative. It is, you gather around something that you care about, something that is important in your lives, like say food, fish, I don't know, education, and you organize around it. You come together around that issue. Like we came together around the circular economy and a more diversified, equitable, way of running the state. Then you can say, these are all of us. Then these are all our teams. These are all the landscapes we work in. These are, let's say, CSPO. This is you guys punya team. This is Linggit, Mega, Lisna. This is all the larger team. These are all your smallholders. And then it intersects with the Ramsar work. It intersects with the Sagama work. This is Phoebe. This is the team. And it's expanding circles. And it also mirrors the landscape. But what if we say there is a place for this? And there is a place for this. What if we had the language, we are multilingual, and we know when to speak this language, we know when to speak that language. But it doesn't mean we're two-faced. It just means we're bilingual. And certain task needs a process, needs to gather people, needs to rumus your brain and synthesize your ideas and birth something. This is like a birth canal. You birth something, bring something alive. You gotong royong, blah, blah, blah. But then at some point, you need to raise money. You need to do the accounts. You need to set up the organization. And some of this linearity is needed. So, okay, Katrina, you do this. Noel, you do this. Rizlan, you do this. You bring a bunch of other people. You do all these tasks. Sometimes you guys know, you see you have an event. You need to get it done. It becomes kind of linear, right? Your work plan, for example. But what if we were comfortable in these different languages, different frameworks? So you know how to hybridize. And then you have tools. You have tools for this, you have tools for this. You have tools for something in the middle. And you as a facilitative leader, because you practice it all the time, you become quite experienced. You can say, now I need this, now I need that. And then it's one thing if one person is doing that alone, but it's another thing if 30 people are doing it. And you all have that common language. And that's one of the main reasons why we're doing this training, is for us to build a common language. And then in the next couple of days, learn some practices. And then after that, you just run with it. You all have your area of work, all your projects. Then you say, mari kita try ini. Let's hybridize this. But remember, it's always very, very easy to snap back here. It's very easy because this is dominant. Whether you think it or not, this framework is in your genetic makeup, sudah. You all think Cynthia's gonna come here, she's gonna tell me what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and I'm just gonna like say yes. And that's what I want. Because it's so hard to think. Like, I'm really bingung. When I go to the landscape and it's crazy and chaotic and smallholders are all sumatalampau pandai, you really want this, right? You also feel the conflict and the tension yourself. True or not? You want to bring the rotan and you want to take away the project or whatever. So I think this program for us is to talk about this, unpack it, see and sense it, and think, how do we learn to be more nimble, more flexible, more agile, more bilingual, more multilingual? You could hybrid, have some of this, your board is somewhere here, but then your projects are something like this, but your finances has to be something like this. Your fundraising has to be something like both of them. And your team knows all these languages.
We were discussing about how this could be a hybrid. Maybe this one could be, it's too idealistic. Macam in theory, it sounds really good, but we don't know how it is applicable in an organization or corporation. Yeah, like a working place. So we were discussing, so we came out with a few shapes. So this one is like a pyramid, and this one is like a flower. So we were talking more, it looks like a cone, cylinder, and then tajam at the top. But then the more we discussed, we feel like it's more like a cylinder. So it's still from up to down. We still have that kind of structure. We still have someone to refer to, but not in the sense that they are the decision maker. So it's more like they're teaching, and then we are teaching. So it's sharing sort of process also lah. Yeah, so it's more like a ripple also. Like when we throw a stone in the river and then there's ripple, ripple, ripple kan. So the middle one could be the people teaching us now, and then we are the second ring. And then after that, when we share with the communities, they're a bigger ring. So yeah, it's sort of a build up lah. Yeah.
We have one discussion about how it's like the night of round table. So the leader is also with them on the same table, but also not only it's like that idea, and then when there's a smaller group, it will be like also a circle, and anything discussed there is brought. So anything in the smaller group can be brought to the larger group. So the discussion is done not only by one person deciding, but everyone decide and then everyone decide. So all of the discussion is like in a round.